Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video I'm going to give basically a little bit of an update to the situation I mentioned about the narcissistic man, and but I want to focus on something that I have heard people say since I was a child, and that is that if you ignore them, the bullies, and these days people really clump everything under narcissistic abusers, narcissistic abuse and all, any kind of abuse. But anyway, the bully, if you ignore the bully, they will go away. Now, I'm not one to say things as though one size fits all, and I disagree with that. So I disagree with that. Because some of them will, yes. If they see they're not getting a reaction out of you, like you're doing gray rock or you're going no contact, of course. But if you're doing the gray rock, well, you basically behave like a gray rock around them. You don't give them anything to fulfill their need to make things miserable for you. Anyway, people say that they'll go away. Like I said, not always. Not all of them. Some of them are persistent, and they're going to stomp their foot like a child until they get their way. Now, like I said, some can be very persistent and just kind of make life miserable for you. And there are situations where it's not that you're going to uproot your whole life to get away from them. Okay, you have to deal with them face to face, or you have to deal with them around you or causing you problems somehow, some way. Yeah, there's not a one-size-fits-all solution to that either. It really bothers me when people tend to think that, oh, all you have to do is this, because remember, they're not the same people, it's not the same situation, and these people can be dangerous. And personally, I prefer to see them as just toxic people, okay, because I'm not going to diagnose them, and I doubt they would say they've been diagnosed. They're just toxic people. So that is a little bit of an update, is that I am seeing that the narcissistic man, and I knew this would happen, it's going to be persistent. I think he got reprimanded, but I don't think that it matters to him. He had already been by his higher up more than once, and for more than one reason, from what I understand. He is the type that simply thinks he can do what he wants to do, and he's going to do it. He's like a little, not all children do this, of course, we all know that, but the kind of child that is just going to sit there and demand their way, and stomp their feet and do what everybody tells them not to do. That's exactly what I've heard in a way about him, in so many words. Yeah. Okay, now that's basically a little update on that part. How about more? Might as well make this more like a vlog of updates. But about narcissistic kind of people. I mean, the narcissistic behaviors of, you know what I mean. I'm not diagnosed. Toxic people. That's what I was talking about. Anyway, I've mentioned that I live in what I call Narcissism-ville. It had a reputation or basic narcissistic behaviors since before I knew it even existed. And that was over 30 years ago. I don't know how long it's had that reputation. But it's not the whole suburb of Dallas. It's really more of an area, which is near, if you ever watched the show Dallas, it's near South Fork Ranch. Okay, and that area, yeah, I mean, not really even that area, but close enough. And it does have this kind of reputation. Of course, not everybody is narcissistic, and it's just a reputation, stereotype, really. But it's what I mentioned, I think last summer, is that during the summer, when the summer months, this is Texas, okay, during the summer months, oh my goodness, the hotter it gets, the worse the attitudes tend to be. Okay, it's already Narcissism-ville, so think about that. Yeah. And the attitudes become, oh boy. And here it is. It's actually, is today the first day of summer? Or yesterday? Yeah. I think it was yesterday. Yeah. I just now realized that. But I said, here it is. Okay, so here it is, summer, and it's already been revving up. Okay, and tomorrow our temps are going to be 97, which is kind of pretty much our norm. It actually usually starts a little earlier, but hey. Anyway, in the attitudes, like I said, we're already revving up, and people are already having this attitude problem. Not everybody. Like I said, not everybody. But here's an example. How about a few examples? One of the first one was, I went to a grocery store, usually go to, and now these are small examples, okay, and I went to a grocery store that I always go to, and I got through the checkout, and I was in the checkout, and the guy looked at a carton of eggs and said, how much is this? And I said, I don't know, it's $1 something. And he said, well, I have a key for $1, but I don't have a key for $1 and something. I'm like, I'd never seen him there before. And what did I say? I said, just natural response was to say, I don't work here. I mean, seriously, I don't work there, so why would I have to know the price of everything? You buy a bunch of groceries, you're going to sit there and memorize all the prices? Some people might. But no, I don't work there. So he responded, he said, well, I do, and I know it's $1, it's more than $1, that they have different prices on everything. That's what he said. And I kind of figured that there might be, a little bit, well, as it turned out, the customer service, somebody who works in customer service helped me out with the groceries because there were stackers, baggers, whatever you call them. They weren't anywhere around. And I told her what happened because she works in customer service. And she told me, she said, I don't know what to say about him, but I'll just apologize about him. So, oh my goodness. That's an example. Then the next thing that happened was Adam had went to a store, a little convenience store, and he said that he got what he wanted, put it on the counter, put it on the counter, and the cashier just put the bag down on the counter. He said he stood there and he was like, wow. Here, I don't know where you live, but it's, if the store is one that they bag your groceries or whatever, they do that. That's one of them. They do that. But she just put it on the counter, the bag, and he said he couldn't believe, that lack of, customer service, really. And so he said that he stood there and he said, were you going to put it in the bag? And she goes, and did it. Okay, and another example was yesterday, I went to a grocery store, and it was one thing after another, including mold on lemons. I was buying lemons, wanting to buy lemons, and then some of them were in a bag, and I had bought a bag of those before, and one of them just really, one had mold on it, and one was really bad tasting, threw them away. So when I saw that, I called, there was a woman that worked there not too far, and she was doing that ordering, reordering groceries or whatever, and I said, can you come see this? And she did that. That's the kind of thing. And that whole story continued. Went on down the line. And I wound up with telling the story to the same customer service woman, and But it's revving up. During, I'm testing this out myself, that during the summer, how much worse is it? Those were very mild examples. I'm talking very mild examples. Okay, it gets worse, but I'm not going to, go through everything. But the attitudes start to get worsen in Narcissism-ville. Can you imagine it? Oh my goodness. Okay, I am going to add a little more to it. Basically, the woman I called over was rude to me more than once so I took a picture of it. Yeah, I was going to go show the manager. And she said she'd call somebody. She didn't. She just kept doing what she was doing. And then I guess the guy who worked there came, and she called him over, and she pointed at me, and they both turned around and gave me these dirty looks. Now, here's the thing about dirty looks. How many of us know what is a dirty look? I do kind of worry about people who are, I'm not going to say any particular generation, but people who are far too into the internet. Now, I was first on the internet in 1990, so that's one of the reasons I'm not going to say any particular generation. It wasn't really called the internet then. I don't think. It was basically, I was one of the people that hooked my computer to other people's computers, and through Telnet, and I think it was Telnet, and there were other services besides that, and there was eventually IRC, MIRC, and or BBSs and all this stuff. So I have a history with this since back to 1990, and I had my first computer in 1982. So, yeah. But I do worry about people who are too tuned in to the internet and what they're doing on the computer and everything, and they don't pay a lot of attention to what's going on in their social world, their face-to-face social world, that they might not be able to pick up as many nonverbals that people are letting know. Like somebody wants you to go in a certain direction, they might move their head in a certain direction, or they might move their finger in a certain direction, a hand, something. Some people might not understand what that means, especially like the head movement, because they're not used to seeing it. Okay, or when somebody's giving you a dirty look, they might not recognize that as a dirty look because they're too busy with their head in their phone, or they don't see that enough to pick up the social cues of what's going on. Okay. I have mentioned before that one of the things I had noticed mainly about one of the things about some toxic people, some would say this you should follow under narcissistic people. I wouldn't limit it there, but one of the things they do, and I've made a video on this, at least one, about that they don't pick up usually, because it's if it's not about them, or it doesn't matter. There's one thing, but also some of the types I've seen are so into their own thoughts, like they're living in a fantasy world, a dream world, and they're in like a dreamlike state all the time. They're not there. Now, some would call it possibly something else. Like I said, I wouldn't limit it, but they don't pick up on them because they just don't notice them. They don't see them, and sometimes you could be in a dangerous situation. That's happened to me before, and you're trying to tell them, hey, let's get out of here. This is not a safe thing, and they don't pick up on it. They don't hear it. They don't see it. They say, oh, you're just, how they love to say, oh, you're just this. It's, you're the one that's got the problem, when no. And finally, in my situation, the guy realized I wasn't wrong. He and a whole bunch of other people that was a gang, and you need to get out of here. So, yeah. But that guy, by the way, turned out to, I would say, without very much of a doubt, that he probably was diagnosed as at least, well, I don't know how they would have diagnosed it, as a sociopath, an antisocial. Someone back then could have been diagnosed as a sociopath. I don't know. That was many years ago. But I don't doubt it. I don't. He wound up being my stalker. He's passed away since then. He passed away 6 months after I let his dad know. Yeah, the guy was 44, 45. Let his dad know that if he continues, he's going to go back to jail, back to prison, I should say. Yeah. Talk about a story. Didn't know all that at first, of course. But anyway, where was I going? I'm suddenly back in my element. I taught here. And a couple of months ago, I did a video, put it on a different channel, saying that I want to start hanging out here more. Because it is me getting back into my element. So I went to the library. It was a nice library. They built quite a nice one. And that was pretty much it. I got into the habit of not doing certain things, but I really need to go do that because I'm doing something for me, research on Cooley and Mead. So anyway, I plan on spending more time at the library there. at this college, and yeah. Be more in my element, and maybe I'll spend less time around people who have the sense of entitlement. I bet that sounds contradictory to some people, but no. Is it college, university, you work for it. Well, at least my students did. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I wasn't even going to come out today out of the house, and then we had something delivered we're getting something built onto our back patio. Okay. And they had to deliver this stuff today. It was really interesting to watch. It was one guy by himself, and it was a big, huge truck, and he basically lifted it up, the bed of it, and it kind of slid the stuff off. It was interesting to watch. But so I had to move my car. Adam was at work. He's at work, so his wasn't parked there, and had to move mine. And I just decided, okay, I'm going to go. I'm already out. Might as well go to some places and do some things today. But have you ever had that day when you say, I just don't want to be around the world because for me, after yesterday, that was enough, with the crazy people. Okay, I am definitely going to wrap this one up, but expect more like this kind of thing. And like I've said before, and every once in a while I'll do it, but far too often I'll wind up putting it on a different channel. Seriously, what is with me? But like I said, I was going, I've already said that in another video. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Talk to y'all in another video. Bye.